They want to see you." Her voice, barely above a whisper, was quickly swallowed by the ambient noise of the station. She raised her hand before Michael had even started his protest. "As an outsider, they've granted you a special dispensation." Michael let out a low whistle. Outsiders had been permitted to see the ruling council of his old service, but it had happened only rarely. Michael could count the number of times it had been allowed in the past century on one hand, and he realized how powerful a request this was, and how that honor didn't change anything. "I'm done with them. I already told you." Vanessa shook her head, a motion which barely disturbed her dark curls. "This is different. A god has gone missing." Michael stiffened. Instinctively, he looked around to make sure no one was close, but of course Vanessa had made sure of that before she'd started speaking. They were purposefully out of the way enough to be private, while not appearing so clandestine that their conversation would seem conspicuous. Still, he thought he saw a shadow move on the other side of the station, but it had no apparent source. So, despite her well-chosen place, he moved in closer to her. His mouth had gone dry, and his heart raced. A missing god. It was unthinkable. Most of the pagan gods had withered as the world moved into the modern age, but a few were still active. Reality depended on them. They could fade, and probably would, given enough time, but their abrupt removal could lead to chaos until the universe adapted to existence without them. He tried to sound like he didn't care, but he knew his reaction had already told his old companion otherwise. "The Knights have better agents than me." Vanessa shook her head. "Not for this. I've been out of the game for years, Vanessa. Surely the god is Mapanos." Ice ran through Michael's veins. Mapanos was a god of the ancient Celts, the personification of youth. Unlike most deities, he had remained active in a world where few believed in him. He had even built a realm for himself, a place of imagination and adventure. Michael and his siblings had actually met Mapanos long ago, when he was a child. It was before his parents had adopted 6 additional boys who'd been brought from the god's realm. Aside from his sister, Wendy, all had forgotten where they'd come from, thinking it only a child's dream. The order Michael Darling had worked for, the one Vanessa belonged to now, knew that his adopted brothers had been called the Lost Boys, who had lived in the realm of Neverland, and that Michael had once known the god Mapanos by another name, Peter Pan. "When do we leave?" Vanessa motioned to the exit. "There's a car waiting for us." Michael nodded and fell into step behind his former colleague. A part of him still wanted to believe that this wasn't happening. That part almost wept as Michael stepped into the car that would take him back to the life he had left more than a year before. Almost unbidden, the old phrase that he had heard so often before missions popped into his mind. "Half a league onward." Chapter 2. The car wound through the streets of London, travelling back roads and turning seemingly at random. More than once they took a series of turns that brought them back to the spot they had been in only minutes before. The old ploy would have worked if Michael hadn't already known where they were going. He gave Vanessa a level look. "It's late, and I'm tired." She shrugged. "Procedures are procedures." "Procedures are why I left." "No, they're not," she said softly. Michael set his jaw and gazed out the window. They had entered one of the more unsavoury parts of the city. Most of the lights were out, and the houses they passed ran together into a dark blur. Finally they came to a stop before a broken-down building. It was the sort of place one would walk past quickly, and even hardened criminals didn't want to attract the attention of those living inside. Dim lights flickered in the windows of the 3-story building. He had the unshakable sense that he was being watched. He shivered as he got out of the car, and he resisted the urge to leave. The feeling grew ever stronger as Vanessa led him to the door.